Vanderbilt on the road at Texas, mighty Texas, Shane. Both these teams ranked, both of them well alive for the college football playoff and hell, even the SEC championship, believe it or not. But the loser won't be alive for that, for the SEC championship at least. Give me Texas favored by 3.5 points at home. Over-under's 45.5, so one of the lowest scoring totals in the SEC this weekend. Noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, nationally televised on ABC. And how about it, Shane? Vanderbilt owns Texas. One of my favorite stats. This is about the only team that owns them. But who do you like in this one? Vanderbilt at Texas.
Oh, man, going to be a good game here. And I feel like being an early matchup is very pivotal for Vanderbilt, right? Let's don't get the fans involved with this one. Let's lull them to sleep. Let's play some Vanderbilt football. Let's drag this thing out. Let's keep the ball away. I will say this. Vanderbilt did not play their best game last week. Hell, they haven't really played a great game, in my opinion, since that LSU game, and maybe you could argue before the Bama game there. It feels like, I'm not saying we figured them out, but they're going to have to think outside the box because they're going against one of the best defenses in the country, and they know what Pavia is going to bring in here because they got to play it last year and almost – I'm not saying they almost lost, but I mean, there was a moment, right? And I feel like that haunts them a little bit. But now no one is overlooking Vanderbilt. Shit, they're getting game day. They're coming out here. They're getting some big wins. Pavia is coming to town. They're ranked higher than Texas, which still blows my mind. And they're the underdog. I just have no faith in this offense. I keep waiting, man. I really do. I wanted to believe. I wanted to think that Texas is here, man. That not only they're here, but this is a playoff team. And I even kind of slightly bought into the Archmania, right?
Slightly.
All right. I was all there. Go on me. You know, I'm not convinced. And I'm telling you right now, this team does not match well with Texas. This feels like it still blows my mind that Vanderbilt, again, I keep saying it, this is the one you need to put your money on right here because Vanderbilt's going down there to Austin and they're getting them a damn victory. Give me Vanderbilt 24, Texas 20. We're firing somebody after this game. It won't be the coach, but it may be offensive play calling by old Sarkisian. He's going to relinquish the reins to someone else, I would imagine.
You're finally jumping on the Vandy bandwagon, huh?
Yeah, I mean, them little scrappy, dirty bastards, they play dirty. I get it. But they're going to get down there and they're going to scrap around with these cats. And I feel like I just don't like them. I don't like this matchup. I just feel like everything that Texas has been good at, Vanderbilt's good at stopping and vice versa. So I feel like Vanderbilt pairs well with Texas here, and that's why I don't like this matchup at all for the Longhorns. No, I get it, Shane. And again, I know it's very popular to pile on Arch. Yeah.
Not that he's had a very good season. I mean, hell, we've been very clear about that. But I also think he's playing his best football. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, he's banged up, and I don't know that he's going to go. I think he is, but there's, to my knowledge, there's been no determination up to this point. So I think Texas really needs him. I know the Caldwell, the backup, he's looked good, like the 3 passes I've seen. He's looked money, right?
Yeah.
On those 3 passes. But if he's got to throw it 30 times a game, I don't think he can outduel Pavia. I really don't. So if Arch doesn't go in this game, I think Vanderbilt wins. And hell, Shane, they may win comfortably without him. But we still got a great defense here in Austin. Last time I checked, Shane, and Vanderbilt, as good as they are and have been, and they're a legitimate top 10 team in the country, they have really started to kind of cool down on the offensive side of the football as they face tougher competition. Now, they had their way against LSU. LSU, we all know, fired their damn coach. So, again, I'm not trying to take it away from them. They won that big game. But Missouri and Alabama had a lot more success. So I think Texas, they probably got a better defense than both those teams, Alabama and Missouri. So I think Texas is going to really corral Vanderbilt. Again, low-scoring game.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you. I mean, I can't. I know they did it against Mississippi State, but I think that was more. That was desperation. That was getting in a hole. That was playing carefree. And Mississippi State is, they just tanked that damn game themselves. So I think we'll get more of the Kentucky, Texas, than we do Mississippi State, which is going to be unfortunate for people like your brother that are there to watch an exciting ball game. I think it's going to be low scoring. And you're right, Shane. All the statistics, Shane, tell me to take Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it. I think I've picked Vanderbilt to. I don't think I've picked them to lose a game yet this year, Shane. And hell, I'm like there. The only one I got wrong was Bama.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't pick Vanderbilt wrong, right? And I'm rooting for them each week because I want them to make the playoff. I want them to save your life, Hober, so make you do some walking. And I think I got Vanderbilt pegged this week too, Shane. Give me Texas 24, Vanderbilt 17. The Longhorns pulling not really even upset, but technically an upset if you just look at the rankings. I think Texas stays alive in the college football playoff race, and hell, Vanderbilt still alive too with a loss. So I think that edge there where Texas has to have it. Vanderbilt, I think if Vanderbilt wins this game, they're in the playoff. Mm-hmm. But if they lose it, they're still alive. Cannot say that about Texas. So give me Texas 24, Vanderbilt 17.
Oh, but what if, what if Vanderbilt people get fired. They always get fired after Vanderbilt wins a game, even though they're top 10, It's like, and I'm not saying Sarkisian gets fired or anything like that, but I mean, there has to be some sort of accountability, and the way the season has played, and you're sitting over here, and we know exactly. It's not like Auburn where we could say, well, Hugh Freeze only does first and third downs or whatever. It's like, no, we know Sarkisian calls every single play, and then we watch this offense and the lack thereof. Even though we know they've got plenty of weapons, there's kids on that roster they're going to be drafted and playing well in the NFL, and I feel like there'll have to be some accountability, but all that goes right out the window if you get a big win at home. And top 10 win, I don't give a shit who it is. The top 10 win's a win, and I feel like this could be the scrappy team that you talked about. The one I just talked about, Vanderbilt, man. They may find a way. They just may will it to get to college football playoff, and that would make a team like this dangerous. Somebody that's been scrapping every single Saturday.
All right, final matchup here, Steven. Your Texas Longhorns with Arch Manning, perhaps. We don't know, but it's trending well for him. Hosting a top 10 Vanderbilt. How about that, Steven? Longhorns favored by 2.5 points at home. Over-under is 44.5 total points. This game kicks off noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, nationally televised on ABC. And how about the all-time record of Vanderbilt? They own these Longhorns, Steven, for whatever that's worth. But who do you like in this one?
Mike, we said it on the Monday show, but it's worth just taking a second to realize that Vanderbilt enters the month of November with a better chance to make the playoff than Texas. They are in better shape. That is insane to say, but it's true. And that's where we start, I think, kind of wondering where this game goes on Saturday, which is the stakes are significantly high. I think if you're Vanderbilt, if you beat Texas, you're probably winning your next two games, Auburn and Kentucky. That puts you at 10 wins, and you're probably making the college football playoff. So the Texas and Tennessee bookend of this stretch for Vanderbilt is a playoff-defining stretch of games for Vanderbilt. For Texas, it's pretty obvious. They have to win out. And that includes Georgia. That includes Texas A&M. It's not going to be easy, but I think Texas, the backs are against the wall, and we saw that in the fourth quarter last week against Mississippi State. So there's a lot at stake here, and I'm expecting to see a pretty motivated team on both sides here. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Mike, was going to be the high-scoring game of the week. I think this is on the other end of it. I don't think we're going to see a lot of points on Saturday. We saw Vanderbilt's offense had some issues last week against Missouri. Missouri's front kind of controlled that game. 265 yards for Vanderbilt. That was the lowest production of the season. So you could see how a Texas defense that is second in the SEC in scoring defense, first in the SEC against the run, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, you could see how Texas kind of controls this game, much like Missouri did last week. I do have a lot of uncertainty about the other side, though, for Texas. Is it Matthew Caldwell? Is it Arch Manning? If Matthew Caldwell starts, I don't think he needs to be amazing to win this game. I think what we're setting up is a very ugly, kind of low scoring, low possession game where turnovers, field position, running the ball, who doesn't make a mistake probably adds up. Vanderbilt gave up 170 rushing yards to Missouri last week. Now, Ahmad Hardy was held under 100 yards. So normally you would say, well, if you got to back a quarterback, you could run the ball and play to your defense. Texas hasn't really run the ball well this season. So I don't know how that does it. Does it help that Texas is at home? Does it help that they've got a week to know whether or not Arch is in or not? There's a lot of unknowns here. So I think the one thing we do know is that it's going to be low scoring, a defensive battle. It's going to look a lot like Missouri and Vanderbilt. I don't want to doubt Diego Pavia. That is for sure. Because I think Pavia, in this game, the better defense is Texas, but I think Pavia and Vanderbilt's going to find a way to manufacture some points here. The unknown of Arch Manning makes me almost lean Texas here, or lean Vanderbilt. But Mike, Texas, backs against the wall. I think they've got the better defense. I think they'll find a way, much like they did in the fourth quarter last week against Mississippi State. Texas finds a way, 24-20. I think that confidence level probably grows if Arch Manning plays on Saturday.
Well, surprise, surprise. President of the Arch fan club's going with Texas. So, hey, this is going to hurt your feelings, Steve. I mean, this may devastate you to your core. But is there a possibility that Texas is better with Caldwell out there? And again, I'm not one of these people that is like burying Arch and thinks he sucks and thinks he's adopted. Because I honestly, I think he's playing better. Particularly last week, I thought he had a heck of a game. But is there a possibility that they are better with Caldwell under center?
I've seen a lot of chatter about that. So, I mean, I'll say this. Caldwell is pretty experienced. I mean, he was at Troy and he's bounced around before that. He's a veteran, maybe perhaps. He's, I would say maybe able to go quicker through the reads. Maybe he's a little bit more pocket experience. Like those are just things Arch has to get better at. Honestly, Mike, I would be stunned kind of if Texas is able to function a lot better offensively with Caldwell. And really, it just goes back to the offensive line for me. There's been several plays that Arch has missed on, several throws every week. I'm like, the dude is wide open. Just put the ball on the money and let him run and catch it. You know, it's small things like that I think are fixable. And I think his mobility is actually, there was a couple times last week where he, and it was true against Oklahoma, a play here and there to escape the pocket, third down. I would be pretty surprised if they're a lot better. And like I said, it's largely just because I just don't think this offensive line for Texas is very good. And the odds of it getting a lot better this year seem pretty slim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's fair. And I also think aside from the Oklahoma game, I'm trying to think back to some others because I've been watching a lot of Texas recently on rewatch, but they have essentially abandoned the running game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think that's because Sark is like some moron, but I think it's because he's lost confidence in the offensive line to block it. But I think that is really hurting their offense as well. So to throw, and again, I don't even know if Caldwell's going to be your quarterback, but if he is, to say he'll be better because I've seen him throw a touchdown in overtime and I saw him throw a pass in Florida and it looked great. I mean,
yeah,
we've had Arch come in for a play or two and be like, good Lord, this guy just going to take the world by storm. That was Steven that said that, not me. But doing it every play consecutively, much different story. And I will say, to your point, you got to win out if you want to make the playoff. And again, who knows? Maybe Caldwell's the next Heisman winner. I don't think so. I think he's out of eligibility. But point being, I don't think they have any shot to beating Georgia, to beating A&M, unless they got Arch Manning and he's playing up to his potential. Does that make sense? Like you're not going to reach your ceiling unless you got Arch out there.
Yeah, I think it's Caldwell's performance on like 2 plays. If you would have to give him a grade,
But they were good plays.
They were very good. There were 2 great throws. Now, I will say Florida was probably playing like off coverage at the end of the game because it was like kind of out of hand. And, I mean,
we don't need context, Steven. We just need Caldwell for Heisman.
He was amazing. I mean, the Heisman race is wide open, Mike. I mean, what if Caldwell plays well against Vanderbilt, Georgia, and A&M, and man,
give it to him.
Just give it to him. But to your point on Arch, I think he has played a lot better the last like 4 games or so. The Kentucky game is kind of the one in there that kind of stands out as a dud. But I think in order for Texas to have a shot to beat Georgia, to beat A&M, to me, it's still Arch. And it's got to be that mobility, continued growth in the passing game. I think his talent at some point is like, that's what could elevate this offense. Because I think Caldwell could maybe manage the game on Saturday, but I don't think you really want to ask him to probably throw 40, 50 times to beat Georgia on the road, or even Texas A&M coming up in a few weeks.
Any bump for Vanderbilt, given that they're the underdog in this game? Like maybe that'll do something for them?
Yeah, anytime. I bet that line has been printed off, showed to Diego Pavia and Clark Lee 100 times this week. Once again, they're not getting a lot of respect. So, Mike, I came very close to picking Vanderbilt here. I had to kind of go with this game being on the road in the Texas defense, and that was kind of the deciding factor for me. But certainly, Vanderbilt motivation. A lot of people picked against them last week against Vanderbilt or against Missouri and before LSU. So I have no doubt they'll be motivated, especially Pavia.
The fact that they struggled so much on offense against Missouri, do you think that's an outlier, or do you think that is, the SEC grind starting to, weigh on them, and it's just going to get more difficult as we get down the stretch? Was last week's performance on an outlier, or maybe our team's starting to figure out this Vanderbilt offense a little bit?
They kind of sputtered down the stretch last year too. Some of that was Pavia being injured. So I don't know that I would buy that they're running out of steam. I think it might just be more matchup based, because the week before they carved up LSU, and for all of LSU's problems, I think their defense is pretty solid, even though they got beat up pretty good by A&M on Saturday. So I think some of it is just probably matchup based more than anything.
Mm-hmm.